Who's starting? What's up? What's up? I thought you said Ethan start. So you got to get the E's right, bro. Philly Uncensored Sports Podcast back at y'all after a little layoff with another video. Today we dropping kind of a special video a little bit. The Olympics is going on or whatever, but not necessarily about the Olympics, but more about what happened. Something that kind of, I guess, a lot of people were shocked about with Simone Biles, dropping out after only after I think one attempt on the event or something like that. And she went over to the coaches, said she wasn't feeling it today, and she dropped out. Now, with that being the case, all the hate is coming. The vultures is in full effect, and they trying to call Simone a quitter, saying it was the worst thing they ever seen. Jordan would have never did it. Brady, all the comparisons like that. So she getting a lot of backlash for dropping out like that. What y'all think? Is she a quitter? Was it the smart thing to do? I mean,
honestly, first of all, I think that all the flack that she's catching is a bunch of nonsense. Because I've seen like where some people came on and they were saying, oh, that's like Michael Jordan leaving before game 7 of the finals for mental this, that, and the other. Let's not act like it's a lot of athletes that have had mental pressures. Michael Jordan retired because his dad died. So not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but you had players that played, you know what I'm saying? But he retired because of that. But nobody gonna say Michael Jordan's a choke or a sucker or weak or nothing like that. Now, I mean, this young girl, first of all, they did her dirty because she's so great at her field. She's so great in her field that the judges have to judge her on a curve so that they downgrade her points because she's doing moves that nobody ever has done before and nobody else can do. So they're doing all this stuff to her. It's a whole mental stress on it. And like just in today's day and time with all the social media and everything, man, leave that girl alone.
Mm-hmm. Timothy?
Well, I think that she has every right to quit. I just feel the timing was a little bit off.
So is she a quitter? Are you saying she's a quitter?
Yeah, she quit. She definitely quit. But she has the right to quit. I just wish she didn't do it at the Olympics because she's not just representing herself. I mean, I don't care about as far as representing the country. I mean, everybody that's in the Olympics, they're representing their country. But she's representing her teammates. She got a bunch of teammates who will never get the opportunities that she's gotten. And the fact that she was there with her teammates, to me, I would have tried to ride it out just for them because they're their team. But as far as her, if you're not feeling a certain way, if you feel like you're struggling up until that point, I would not have flew all the way to Tokyo and made that decision right then and there. I would have gave that opportunity to somebody else who was able to prepare for that moment. That's all I'm saying. I don't disagree. I feel that she's completely okay with making that decision. I'm totally fine with the decision. I just wish it was made a little earlier than it was.
Okay. Ethan?
I don't really agree with him that much. I mean, you feel bad for her teammates?
Yeah, I do.
Her mental health is more important than all that other stuff. Don't you agree? I mean, not a knock on her, but there's the old adage that pressure busts pipes, right? I mean, this girl was under extreme pressure. Everybody acts different under pressure. I don't know what's going on in her family. I mean, I heard she said none of her family and stuff could be there. They hardly have anybody watching the games because of the pandemic. So she might not have had support she felt she needed. So I don't knock her for quitting the Olympics. I don't fault her at all. I actually think she has more pressure on her probably than any athlete, and more pressure than Mike to win, more pressure than Tom to win, more pressure than LeBron to win. So I think she has a nation watching her cheering for the win. So that's a lot of pressure, man. Everybody sit here and can be like, I do this, I do that, I do this under pressure, I do that, and they playing outside basketball court, and you got 12 spectators and they folding because they don't know how to. You know what I mean? You got 12 boys inside like talking, and they fold under pressure. So I mean,
But you know what else too? There's the other part. So you saying that you got to look at the sport she plays too. You know that she did compete in the pole vault for that, and because her mind wasn't right, she almost got jacked herself up. She messed it up. So that's like I think it was Mary Lou Retton, one of the all-time gymnasts and stuff, said if your mind's not right, you can break your neck out there doing that gymnastic stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of them understood that. And you saying about their teammates, guess what? She gave an opportunity to a teammate to step up. Because when she stepped down, someone else got their opportunity to shine.
We
and
all
they could have
agree. I don't think none of us are saying that she shouldn't have quit. I just said the timing is
but the timing was right because she wasn't mentally in it and she was endangering herself. And if suppose she went in it, they still won the silver. If she competed and completely failed,
don't nobody win no silver.
It's better than getting nothing or getting a bronze.
Loser. Ain't
See,
nobody win no
if you ain't first, you last.
Exactly. If you ain't first, you last. Talk about some silver. What you gonna do with that silver?
No, my thing is and my take is it's kind of similar, but she got, for one, I think she got to have better handlers of her situation, right? And I say that because they made these jerseys and they put the GOAT on her jersey, right? The GOAT head or something on her jersey, saying that she's the greatest of all time. Now, whether she is or whether she's not, that would be disputed. I mean, more than likely she is the greatest. I mean, I'm not no gymnast buff, like I know every gymnast that ever went. So I'll go off of what most people say. Most people say she the GOAT, then she the GOAT, right? But with that being said, why would you, who already is facing this immense amount of pressure, why would you either authorize or endorse by wearing something that's going to add more pressure to you with the GOAT on your jersey? Let them do that. Let them talk about that as regards who's the greatest and all that kind of stuff like that. You do your thing. You flip, you run, you flip, you do whatever, pole vaulting, you do all this stuff. You do what the gymnasts do. You let them talk about after your career is over, who's the GOAT and who's not. Right now, you're still in the middle, or I guess kind of on the back end with, the Olympics of your career. But even that being said, you're still not done yet. You still got World Games you probably going to play and all that kind of stuff like that. So why put that extra bullseye or allow that extra bullseye to be put on you when you already are saying from the rip, way before that, she was saying how much pressure she felt. And she said she felt like, this is her quote, that the weight of the world is on my shoulders. All right. So with that being said, why add extra pressure to you? Why, or not even her, but why your camp, who's around you should be like, no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Get a regular leotard, get a regular joint, and do your thing.
Or was her clothes already pre-picked? I'm sure it was pre-picked already. That might be something for her brand. So I mean,
listen,
and she ain't the first. Go ahead.
The girl is bad though. They said she ain't lose a major since 2013, since her debut. She's doing moves that men do, that men find difficult. The level of difficulty on her moves is outrageous. So I mean, she a bad girl. Don't get that twisted.
She in the last Olympics in Rio, she got 4 gold medals and a bronze. So she's already a gold medal winner.
But that's my thing. Like I don't see where it's like. I mean, I get what you're saying about time. See this the other part of it. And sometimes this is like our generation. And like sometimes we might make fun of the younger generation because it's like, how now you go on the court, a bull get hurt and you be like, oh, I gotta sit down. You know how we was. You just strap your sneaker up and keep going. Well, guess what? That's why a lot of our older dudes in our age group and dudes older than us all broke up like that, because that was their mindset. I'm going to do whatever for this team. At some point, the young lady, 24-year-old young lady, did what she needed to do. Now, mind you, we talking about her winning all these things ever since then. So she's been doing this for years since a kid. She went through so much stuff. She also been through the whole thing, like with the whole sex thing, like where the guy was molesting them or whatever, or sexually assaulting all the women gymnasts. This girl been through a whole lot. So for her to step back to me means it's something that it really was overwhelming to her. She's been through a lot and been through that and still been winning. So for her to get to this point where she recognizes, like, I don't have it right now, like I can't do it, I have no problem with her doing that.
Don't fly to Tokyo and make that decision.
Maybe she was going to try to tough it out.
Make it at the rodeo, not at Tokyo. Make it when you in Kentucky.
So then America they would have got what's lower than bronze? They would have got the doo.
No, because their team went. If you're more mentally prepared,
if they was going in, a wood trophy.
Say it again.
He said they got a wood trophy.
No, but seriously, I just think the timing was. You don't get there and say the day you struggling. The day of the match and be like, you know what? I'm not going to go on. I'm going to let somebody else go on. And now they got to go.
But why do you think she? I mean, you assuming that she already felt that way early. Like it's like any other sport. Once you get there, you feel like, yo, today ain't my day. The greatest shooter of all time, Steph Curry, went 1-0 for like 13. That throw my man in it. But I'm just saying he's one of the great.
It didn't even handle.
But my thing, Jordan had bad games. You don't know when you're going to have a bad when you just show up and it's not your day. Sometimes you might feel good on the plane up there. You might feel good in your rehearsals and your walkthrough or whatever. And then as you get up there, you're like, yo, I'm just off. It's something about it that's just off. It come like that. So I don't think she went to Tokyo. I mean, why are you saying that she went there mentally compromised? Do you have some information? I don't know.
So you just saying you just have a breakdown. Something was going on.
You never know what happened over there. It could have been somebody said something slick. It could have been a whole bunch of slick stuff being said. We already know that the judges was doing her dirty. So I mean, at a certain point,
let me ask y'all:
you've been in the game too long to be all of a sudden. It takes one bad flight to Tokyo to make you collapse. Something has been.
That's a long flight. First of all, you seen the pressure building. She kept talking about how much.
That's what I'm saying. So if you see the pressure building, then step aside early on.
But I mean, guess what? Wait a minute. Hey, guess what? If she would have said, "I'm not going to Tokyo because of Mitchell," they would have like, "Oh, she let the country down." No, the red, white, and blue. No, never mind if she sit there spazzing out and having nervous.
When Naomi Osaka stepped away from the game of tennis in the middle, right before the French Open, everybody was like, "You know what? You took care of your mental health."
I'm sure somebody who caught her weak. I'm sure people who caught her weak. When she didn't want to do the interviews, remember she was saying because mental health she got fined for it. Remember that?
True. But that's why she quit. She was like, you know what, I'm done.
I'm sure people who called her a quitter too.
Of course they did. That's people always.
Let me ask y'all: can y'all think of any other athletes had pressure like her?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, she probably has the most. I think.
I disagree with that.
I say she has the most because she's the best at what she does right now, undisputed. I don't think it's nobody who's undisputed as her in a sport right now, active in a sport as she is in hers. So when you undisputed the way you are, it's going to come with a certain type of level of you supposed to win. Not that we rooting for you, or not that you the favorite. You're supposed to win because you're the GOAT.
Are we talking all the time, or are we just talking about in this?
I'm talking about right now in this.
Talking about right now.
Okay.
Like I don't. When I look at basketball, I look at football. There's no pressure on nobody when a trip. The honest truth is, and it's just crazy. After all these years in the league, LeBron probably has the most pressure on to win a chip still, and that's crazy to even say.
But I think everybody's waiting for him to have a drop in his game so they can attack.
I don't think he's. I think, but career wise, I do think that he has had the most pressure. Like, you know what I'm saying, like throughout his career, you know, being the chosen one, calling himself King James. See, that's my other thing. Like Ephraim's.
Did he call himself that, or they called him that?
He came out doing the whole commercials when they all doing the choir dancing and calling him King James and bringing out King James Bibles. He rode with it.
Now the person that I would select,
he lived up to it though. That's impressive.
I would think Floyd Mayweather.
But Wayne was about to make a point about what I said. He said like Ephraim said.
No. Go ahead, because I'll tie it in real quick. Right where Tim about to set it up. And I'm about to knock out the park.
All right. So when you think about Floyd Mayweather and all the title defenses that he had by far the most hate because he's in a era of social media where people is always voicing their opinions either through podcasts like the Uncensored Philly Sports Podcast. Or like ESPN or all over the place. Everybody always have an opinion about Floyd Mayweather. If you ever go to his fights and he fighting players that's not even American, you'll see a bunch of Americans walking around with towels and flags of that other country, just hating on that man. And you know, when in every title defense that he has, he always steps up to the plate. I mean, look at the pay-per-view numbers. People, he's a draw. So as being a draw, everybody wanting to be around you and near you and see you, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot.
He was no more. He wasn't even the most pressured boxer ever. You talking about some most pressured? Muhammad Ali. Just to your point though, Ephraim, she put GOAT on her thing. Like watching Muhammad Ali called himself the greatest as he was whooping people. So I'm just saying, like athletes do that. People do that. What, Muhammad didn't call himself the greatest? What you don't agree with?
Pressure is Floyd because Muhammad Ali actually lost. Floyd never lost, so he has the pressure to try to keep that losing streak. And who's the guy who's trying to Marciano or something, the 50-0 whatever.
Pacquiao.
No, he talking about Marciano. He talking about the other dude who went undefeated, Rocky Marciano.
But if you talking about just. But when we talking about all the extra stuff, you talking about Muhammad Ali was hated on by the government. He was hated on by most of America, and he was hated on even by other black people. It wasn't just the white people. Black people, some black people didn't like the way that Muhammad Ali talked to to what's his name? Not Foreman. The one from Philly.
Yeah,
Frazier. They didn't like how he talked to Frazier. They didn't like how he talked to Sonny Liston. They didn't like that. So he dealt with that stuff. You dealt with the government wanting to put you in jail. You dealt with everything. And I give you this. I get your point about social media. First of all, I think Muhammad Ali would thrive in the social media era because he loved the camera. But guess what? Back then, at least now on social media, if Floyd go on social media somewhere and some people start ripping him, you won't get like another million fans of Floyd come on there defending him. And Muhammad Ali. Wait a minute, in Muhammad Ali day, you only had the news media. He didn't have his own news media to put out. So
I told you this.
The only news that you got was from the main news media, and everyday fans couldn't go up and voice their opinion about it, and you hear about it.
They was making fun of Floyd Mayweather saying he couldn't even read.
He's the most hated boxer ever. He's the most hated boxer ever.
I do say Floyd probably the most hated boxer. I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't live through that time.
I don't think hate necessarily makes you the most pressure. Some people love to hate. People hate on them. Some people feel
about hated.
As regards most pressure through a career, I think is without question LeBron James. Throughout the length of your career, he by far it was the most talked about athlete in the history of sports, of modern sports anyway. As regards one isolated pressure moment, though, I think it may be Simone Biles in this moment, in this isolated box of pressure. And what I mean by that is because everybody's not basketball fans or everybody's not football fans, like, for Tom Brady or whoever, Peyton Manning. I know he had a tremendous amount of pressure being the number one pick to win the Super Bowl and all that. But everybody ain't fans of those sports. Where pretty much everybody, whoever you are, you at least in some way look at the Olympics just to see, what's my country doing? And they winning. What's the other country? What's Russia doing? You know what I mean? So a lot of people going to tune in just off that fact alone, and they know that she's spoken of as the greatest gymnast of all time. So you automatically tune in. Oh man, she's gonna win. She's gonna win. That's pressure to be in a position where you're not supposed to lose. Not that you're the favorite, but you're not supposed to lose. That's a lot of pressure. That's pressure. That's like being at the free throw line. Is everybody like, oh, you ain't gonna miss that? And you like, okay, everybody. I mean, like it's not automatic. I may make it look easy. She makes stuff look relatively easy. Like Ethan said, she's doing stuff the men do. But it's not easy. It's not. And like you said, Wayne, earlier, if you slip up, you can seriously hurt yourself. You could paralyze yourself. This ain't a sport where you could kind of haphazardly go into and you be on your off game and you still try to press through it. Nah, them flips and stuff you're doing, if you land wrong, you're done. For real,
everybody not really watching the Olympics like that, especially in the United States. So we have so many options.
But even if you don't watch it, you won't hear about it.
When you see the Super Bowl, millions of people are watching at one particular time. The NBA Finals, they getting there. The Olympics, you got like 10 different things going on at the same time.
But it's one player
worldwide, though. First worldwide is different. You sound like an American, Tim. You sound like
but I am an American.
That's like football. That's like football. We don't watch. Americans don't really watch football.
Exactly. Nobody cares.
No, the world
does.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do.
I should say I don't care.
But that's the point I'm making.
That's the
like
biggest
the world
sport in the world.
But it's not that good.
But Olympics is a huge deal. And if you don't, and if you're not watching it, you're gonna hear about it just like you did. Everybody's talking about this Simone Biles thing. Everybody. It is so. Trust me. I think it's an isolated moment. It may be one of the most high pressure situations that we've seen in recent history, where one individual have to face.
They've been having the Olympics every year, every 4 years for the
every 4 years is huge, man. Every year is different. Every 4 years.
You know what? The only bull who might have been on that level for real, probably was Michael Phelps.
Danny Davis.
He's the only bull. No, not even them, because one of them ain't make it 1 year.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah. I think the dude who was the undisputed greatest at his craft in the Olympics in recent history was Michael Phelps. He was the only dude who was expected to win.
Wait, Carl Lewis? We ain't gonna get Carl Lewis.
No, we talk about the Jamaican sprinter, the boy.
Usain Bolt. I agree. I forgot.
You want to go back in time and Jesse Owens. Imagine have to be in Nazi Germany performing in front of Hitler and still getting off.
Was he undisputed, expected to win over anybody?
That boy was untouchable, man.
Was he unexpected? Was he expected or undisputed, the clear-cut favorite to win? Jesse Owens?
Yeah.
He's just talking. You gotta look that up. I'm
not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure who the competition was at the time and all that. I honestly don't know.
But you know what, though?
Was Sha'Carri Richardson supposed to win?
She was, but they gagged her. They gagged her too. That's a whole nother topic. I think she kind of got robbed with that. But you're right about you saying in Michael Phelps.
But sometimes when somebody, I don't know if they necessarily have more pressure when you're the better player like that. Like I think when. Now, like not talking about pressure, I think pressure comes in when you're facing adversity. That's where it kicks in, how you managing pressure to me. And like say if you're the greatest like honestly, I don't think Mike was as pressured as everybody want to make him out to be. Like when he was winning,
I said that. I don't think he was.
But that's what I'm saying. Like he was the greatest player. Like they wasn't expecting him to lose those things. So it's like even with Floyd, I'll give you that. Like when you talk about Floyd, you had people expecting they wanted him to lose. They were looking for ways. They was like, yeah, see Floyd lose because he ain't got the power to do this. He ain't got they were looking at that. Nobody looked at Michael Jordan like that and like, oh, Mike gonna lose this because nobody ever thought that. So I don't think that. I think that's less pressure on you when you're that much better than everybody else.
But he had the league on the side, so he was.
But I think I agree with that too, Tim. But I also think it's a little. Mike always had the outlet of blaming somebody else. When you play in an individual sport, you can't blame nobody else. Remember when Pippen missed the game against Pippen fault, he had a headache. If Kerr would have missed the three, it would have been Kerr. If Paxson missed the three, it would have been their fault. If Cartwright ain't grabbed the rebound, it would have been his fault. Jordan always had, once he started winning, if the league didn't back him to win the rest of his championships, he always had an out. And a lot of players do. I'm not even saying it's just isolated just to Jordan. As a team sport, even when Tom Brady lost, they blamed the bull Wes Welker. Who was that? Wasn't that Wes Welker for dropping the pass or something? You can always blame somebody else.
Blame Bill Belichick for not starting the cornerback.
but Butler, exactly. Yeah. So it's always somebody to blame when you lose, when you play in a team sport. That individual stuff, boxing and like gymnastics, when you do the individual tip, it's a different level.
This is my thing about gymnastics too. Every other sport we talked about, boxing is somewhat in this category too. It's all about a judge judging you. Everything else is about you scoring more points, you beating somebody in the foot race, you scoring touchdowns. But this thing is about 4 people. How many judges is it? 4?
I agree.
4 judges sitting there. And remember, she had a problem with the judging because she's saying she wasn't judged fairly too. So that could have been a factor also. So it's somebody sitting there that they really have, if you win or lose, in their hands. So I mean, we don't know her relationship with whoever judging. Maybe she didn't like it. I don't know what's going on, but
judge might have said something slick to her in passing.
I don't know. So to sit there and know that you could do your best and still lose because these judges aren't judging you fair too. That could be a
that's like when that was like when people was playing against Mike. You know what I'm saying? The judges that wasn't judging you fairly.
We're gonna wrap this thing up. Don't forget to
Like Chris Paul. Chris Paul just went through that with the ref in his finals.
That's true. But listen, we'll see. We'll see her next 3 years because the Olympics was skipped last year. We'll see her again in 3 years.
I don't know. How old is she?
I hope she retires.
You're gonna be 27.
You age out. You age out, man. They've been doing that since they like 4, man.
That's true. But
she might have enough. I just hate the fact that people that the vultures and the haters now want to pick the time to pounce after she been winning. Nobody was really. It's funny that people who hating wasn't the same people who was praising her. Like they quick to say, I was listening to one dude just real quick. He was like, "Oh, if you want to be the one who everybody praises, then you got to be the one to take the criticism when you quit and blah blah blah." But I'm like, bro, you wasn't one of the ones praising her, I bet. You wasn't one of the ones telling she was the greatest. You was one of the haters waiting to see a kink in the armor, and then as soon as you see a kink in the armor, you pouncing on her now. That's what I don't like. Like, if you ain't one of the dudes who giving her love, and then you say, oh, I was giving her love now, but I just don't like that, that's fine if you coming from that perspective.
All right.
They
but
probably
don't
wasn't
be
even
a
watching.
hater.
That's a good point, but we're going to wrap this thing up. Thanks for watching the podcast. This is the Uncensored Philly Sports Podcast, and we are your hosts. Thank you very much. And we'll check you out on next video. We out.
Deuces.